So hi, I'm Choon Beng, another bureaucrat. I'm from the National Parks Board. And I've got the next 15 minutes to convince you that Singapore has amazing biodiversity. Okay, I was told that the total number of slides for this whole TEDx thing, there are 300, and I took up 100 slides. So I'm going to rush through, bear with me. Now the first point is that we've got 720 kilometers square. That makes us a very small country. The next time when you go out and you speak to anybody, and you tell them Singapore is a very small country, they'll nod their head. But when you tell them how small, they will shake their heads. They won't believe it, because we are 27 kilometers, right, up and down. You can't even do a marathon from north to south. Right, so population, we are hitting close to 6 million. 6 million, if you divide the area that we have with 6 million, that makes us one of the densest country in the world. By some accounts, the third densest. So if you are the third densest country, you have a very small country, you have no space for anything else. But the shocking thing is that we actually have a lot of stuff. So this is the list of the native biodiversity we have in Singapore. I know to you it's just numbers, but trust me, it's quite an impressive set of numbers. But what's more amazing is actually this. So I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I've seen changes. Our attitude, our awareness, and the way we adopt nature has improved so much since the time I started. A case in point. So I was an undergrad in NUS in Faculty of Science. We were, a few of us, classmates, we belonged to this society called Biological Sciences Society. Is it still around? Do you all know? It is? So it's called a Life Science Society now. Okay, anyway, I heard that last time it was called Society of Biological Sciences, but they changed name because it was Society of BS, right? So not so good, they changed it to Biological Sciences Society, which is actually not an upgrade because it's just BS plural, BSS. But then the group of us, we were from BSS, and we had to go on this trip to Malaysia, which is to Taman Negara, which is the nature reserve of Peninsular Malaysia. So we went Taman Negara, and part of the things that we had to do was to stay overnight there in this height overlooking a salt lake. A salt lake is where all the animals come out at night, so we had to stay overnight. And we were to look at what animals come out. And when we were staying there, and we were all like just recently out of the army, so true to army training, we fell asleep within the first hour. So we slept through the whole night, except for one guy, who I will not name, was my classmate, because he's now professional, so you don't want to damage his reputation. So he was a storeman, so he didn't go through a rigorous army training, so he stayed up through the whole night. And he was there looking at animals. And when we woke up the next day, we asked him, so, you who shall not be named, what animal did you see? And he very proudly said, yes, I saw, I recorded it in the logbook. So logbook is a public logbook, everybody gets to see it. So we said, oh, let's see what he wrote. And he had written there the date, the time, and the animal that he saw was a panda. And then he wrote there, National University of Singapore. So to our horror, we went there and erased everything. Because there's no way he saw a panda. You all know there's no panda in Malaysia, right? So he saw this. Okay, this is not a panda. Do you all know what this is? This is a tapir. And you know, nowadays, when we see a tapir, everybody knows it's a tapir. This is 2016. So everybody saw the tapir, and straight away they broadcast it on Storm, on the newspapers. Everybody knew it was the tapir. But in those days, the Biological Sciences Society of the National University of Singapore saw it as a panda. But look at this. Look at that top there. The last sighting of tapir was in 1986. I want to talk about how our attitudes have changed. You know what happened to that last sighting of that tapir? This is the tapir in 1986 in Pulau Ubin. Now, for the record, this man with a stick did not kill the tapir. He actually fell down a quarry and died. But this guy, he just held out a stick, and now he's like a bad guy for posterity. But if he were to do that now, he'd be flamed online, right? And there are many things, but in the interest of time, I won't say, there are a couple of anecdotes about how our attitudes have changed. Like, for example, I'll just say this. In the early days when we did gardens, right, we had such a hard time telling people, auntie, uncle, you have to plant more plants, we have to attract more butterflies. And the standard response is, yes, we want the butterflies, but we don't want caterpillars. Can you figure out the logic of that? Okay, I'm going to run through a few images and you guess which one is Singapore. Okay, any guesses? Yeah, clever. All of them are Singapore. Never expected Singapore to have that, right? It's not just nice scenery. Guess what? In our forest, we have a lot of also exotic animals. Not exotic as in from other countries, but things that you're not used to. This is a leopard cat. Otters. Otters is old news by now, right? Mouse deer. 2 species of mouse deer. There's a pangolin. Pangolins are critically endangered. And then and you guys are used to seeing monkeys, right? You go to Macritchie, you see monkeys. Now, those are not the only monkeys we have. We have another species, but you guys have never seen it because it lives deeper in the forest. Banded leaf monkeys. And of course, we have monitor lizards. Now, the big thing about this monitor lizard is there are many species of monitor lizards in the world. Okay, this is the second biggest, and we have it in Singapore. The only thing bigger than this is the Komodo Dragon. But of course, even the biggest monitor lizard will get eaten sometimes by the biggest reptile in the world. So the biggest reptile in the world is that. That's the estuarine crocodile. We have it in Singapore as well. But it's not just about small animals. In our waters, the seagrass, like in the Indo-Pacific region, there are 20 over species of seagrass. This little dot that we live on in Singapore, we have half of that. The Neptune count is a sponge. It was thought to be extinct. The whole world didn't have it anymore until it was found in Singapore again, and only in Singapore. And talk about rare things, right? This crab, the swamp forest crab, is only found in a patch of forest in the whole world, just a patch of forest, and the patch of forest is in Singapore. And this crab is only found in a stream in Singapore, just one stream, nowhere else in the world. But my favorite conservation story is actually about bird. But not this bird. This is the white-bellied sea eagle. It's the biggest eagle we have in Singapore. So the equivalent of this eagle would be your somebody in your, maybe one of your classmates who is buff, who goes to the gym, and good looking as well, right? Sharp features. Who wouldn't want sharp features? So this eagle is like the boss, the king of the air. He's big, he's strong, but nature is very fair. So he's good looking, he's muscular, he's good with in physical attributes, but could we click on that icon? The one that makes the sound. He sounds like a duck. If somebody can click on the icon. I could make the call. Okay, thank you. So this is like you going and you see this good-looking guy, and then he starts talking to you, and then he's like a voice that goes, ah. Okay? Next. Look at this bird. This is a Brahminy kite. Slightly smaller, but super agile. This guy swirls and turns in the air. He can take on anything. He's really fast. And he's got sharp features as well. If this was Lord of the Rings, he'll be Legolas. But nature is fair, because if somebody can click on the sound again, it sounds really effeminate. Don't hold your breath. Yes, that's the Brahminy kite, right? And then you come to this bird. This bird is a straw-headed bulbul. This bird is really not very good looking. It just looks like a bird. But this bird has one of the best vocalizations in the whole bird kingdom. In fact, because of its song, it's so good and rings out through the forest, travels for kilometers. It's so good that it's now endangered. In its homeland, there's no more of this bird. And the last stronghold, probably the last one of few or the last stronghold, is here in Singapore. This is straw-headed cuckoo, and this is what it sounds like, but it does not do it justice. Can we have the sound? This is the call of the straw-headed bulbul. that's one of the prime targets for the songbird trade. But the hero or heroine of our story is actually this bird. The picture you can't see. Okay. That was a wimbrel. That was a wimbrel, and that is the bird that I want to talk about. Now, this bird visits Sungai Buloh. It's really nothing very much to look at. Its beak is too long, its colors are drab, the legs are too skinny, and it needs a tan. Right? But this bird, and the call you heard just now, it sounds like the MRT train. But the amazing thing about this bird, right, as in all other shorebirds, migratory shorebirds that come to Singapore, is their ability to fly incredible distances. And that is the story that I'm going to tell you in the next 5 minutes. This is the Arctic Tundra. Okay, this is the tundra in summertime. It's a pretty nice place. Can be quite beautiful. And it's a good place for a lot of shorebirds to actually find food because all the insects are hatching out in summer. The air is full of food. And then there are no predators around, and they can lay their eggs and have their chicks out in a few months' time. And be big enough to fly away. Because they need to fly away, once the winter comes, it looks like this. And they need to head south. And because of this epic journey, they're traveling throughout the whole world. It's become known as the migratory flyway. And there are a couple of flyways in the whole world, but the biggest, the most significant flyway is the East Asian Australasian flyway, in which Singapore is right smack in the middle of. So you see the birds will move from north to south, and then from south all the way up again in months. And that's their incredible story. But along the way, they need to stop at very, very important places called mud flats. They need places like this. And they need to feed. They need to find a worm or two. They need to flock together to find shelter. The problem is that the mud flats are always at the coast, right? And coasts are always the most important areas for economic development. And in our flyway, which is the best flyway, most number of birds, most number of species, is getting devastated. So we're looking at a lot of development that are encroaching on the mud flats where the birds live, getting nearer and nearer, to the extent that birds have no more places to go. And sometimes it gets worse. Some places they're building a dam right across the mud flat. And when you build a dam, everything dries up. Everything inside dies. And imagine a bird is looking for food. It has to stop at this place to continue on its next leg of its journey. It stops at the mud flat, totally dry. They all die. And we are losing tens and thousands of birds. And whatever is left, right? Whatever is left of the mud flats, it gets polluted. It becomes unusable to the birds. And the farmers who had their livelihood affected by development, they're forced to catch more birds. And the population has double whammy. So the story comes down to Sungai Buloh. And these birds, if they can make it to Sungai Buloh, a small place in a very small country, there they can find respite. Because over here, we provide mud flats where these birds can actually chill out and feed and store energy for the next leg home of the journey. But throughout the whole world, the birds are being celebrated. You know, kids in Korea, in China, Japan, they celebrate the birds, they welcome the birds each year. And in Singapore, over the last 20 years, we are also starting to do that. We now appreciate our birds very, very much. And when the birds reach Sungai Buloh, not only do we love them, we study them as well. So these guys, these are all the staff at Sungai Buloh. We catch the birds. That's me, by the way. I don't usually do it, but I just pose for the photograph. So we ring the birds. We put tags of them, and then we put geolocators. Recently, we put geolocators on them. And these geolocators are little things. They're not satellite transmitters. You put them on the legs, and they give you an idea of where the birds go. And we're starting to find a lot of information which we're then feeding back to the world's knowledge bank of what happens when these birds go traveling. So anyway, just for interest, you see a green flag over a white flag. Now, next time when you go traveling, anywhere within the East Asian Australasian flyway, and you see a bird with green flag over white flag, report it back to us because that's our bird. And once we flag it, that helps us know where the birds go. So you guys see a bird, you know, and you tell Sungai Buloh, say, we saw a bird, then we say, where was it? What time was it found? And even if it's in the bottom of somebody's dish, right, you can still tell us. So interesting things that we found out putting geolocators on birds We put it on one bird, and then we caught it back again the next season, and we downloaded data. We know that this bird was traveling at making incredible journeys. You can't see it here, but the bird left Singapore on the 2nd of April and reached Sichuan, China on 3rd of April. Okay, that's 3,000 over kilometers in 24 hours. Can you imagine? These are not big eagles that soar on thermals. Okay, they are actually flying very hard. But when we catch the birds in season, when they arrive in Singapore, right, they are all exhausted. You can feel the bones, they are really sharp. But when they stay, 3 months stay in Sungai Buloh, you put on a lot of weight. So that's why Sungai Buloh stands for suddenly balloon without reason. The next thing we want to do is to put satellite transmitters on the birds. These things are very expensive, but we don't need to catch the birds again. They give us a live signal, like ping, 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 as they go along. And we are actually about to do that next week. So once we do that, we'll know where the birds are right there and then. And if someone catches the bird, if it goes into someone's home, we can actually follow the bird to its home. So no poaching. But why am I telling you all this? It's because by all accounts, Sungai Buloh is quite successful. And where we are today is because of one thing. It's because of Singaporeans who came in and saw a vision when Sungai Buloh was nothing but a couple of dirty ponds. He saw that there were a lot of birds and decided then to keep it as a sanctuary. And it was given to us as a bird park, not a reserve then, but because of the support of Singaporeans. From the moment the day we opened our gates, they started coming in, and through the years, the children, they came to listen, to learn, and then to eventually love Sungai Buloh. And to this day, the loving continues. So the kids are still coming, but now at all levels and from different backgrounds. And not just younger kids, we have the tertiary students, we have the adults, the corporates are coming in, and everybody is showing love for Sungai Buloh. It's just families are in, families with young kids, older families, and retirees. And it's because of people like this, the volunteers, the stakeholders, people who gave their time and their commitment, that they were able to make Sungai Buloh what it is today. And the same story repeats itself for all our other nature parks and all our nature reserves. It's the story of people in Singapore coming forward to make a stand and to rewrite the script on what they want our reserves to be. And because of that, my take on what is the most spectacular part of the conservation story in Singapore is actually us, people in Singapore. Thank you.